Did you know that as we age, the brain does not deteriorate all at once? It doesn't break. It doesn't collapse. What it actually does is become more sensitive to context, more dependent on rest, oxygenation, emotional stability, and daily routine. During deep sleep, which after the age of 60 often becomes shorter, the brain activates its internal cleaning system, known as the glymphatic system. It works like a nightly maintenance service, removing microscopic waste that accumulates during the day. When this system fails night after night, certain proteins begin to remain where they shouldn't. They don't cause pain and they don't create obvious symptoms, but they do generate silent friction between neurons, and that is where the real problem begins. Most people believe dementia starts with severe memory loss, but by the time that happens, the process has already been underway for years. The real issue is that the earliest signs are disguised as aging, fatigue, or stress. And while they are normalized, the brain keeps adapting until it can no longer do it on its own, which is why listening to these early signals completely changes the prognosis. The first sign is not forgetting, but freezing, a brief mental pause where a person walks into a familiar room and stands still for a few seconds, not because something important was forgotten, but because the brain needs to recalculate where it is and what it was about to do, and automatic actions no longer feel fluid. Neurologically, this reflects a slowdown in executive networks responsible for coordinating intention, action, and context. It is minimized because it doesn't seem serious, yet every pause forces the brain to use more energy to accomplish what once was effortless, which is why simplifying tasks, reducing unnecessary stimuli, and reinforcing conscious routines helps protect these networks. The second sign appears in everyday language. Words are not lost, but delayed. Speech becomes slower with detours and uncomfortable silences. And although the brain knows what it wants to say, it struggles to access the exact term, something that happens when the temporal lobes begin operating under prolonged metabolic stress. This is often interpreted as normal distraction, but frustration leads people to speak less, and language is one of the most important forms of brain exercise, which is why maintaining active conversation, reading aloud, and storytelling strengthens these circuits. The third sign is one of the most ignored pillars. Sleep no longer restores, because poor sleep is not just feeling tired, it is depriving the brain of its deep cleaning process, fragmenting rest, shortening deep sleep, and leaving the mind unrestored upon waking. Many say, I sleep less, it's normal at my age, but each poorly slept night allows toxins to remain longer in the brain, making sleep improvement a neurological intervention, not a luxury. The fourth sign appears emotionally through irritability, anxiety, sadness, or hypersensitivity without a clear cause. And this is not emotional weakness but biology, because when neurons work under pressure, brain chemistry shifts and mood is often the first system to lose balance. When this is treated only with emotional soothing, the neurological origin is ignored. But observing emotion as a brain signal allows intervention before cognitive decline. The fifth sign affects sustained attention. Following long conversations becomes exhausting. Noisy environments feel overwhelming, and television feels confusing because the brain no longer filters stimuli efficiently. Many say, I just don't have patience anymore. But in reality, the mind is struggling to process too much information at once, and training attention with clear, slow, and structured stimuli helps protect cognitive function. The sixth sign appears in the body before the mind, through small bumps, misjudging distances, or mild clumsiness, because the hippocampus, essential for memory, also plays a role in spatial orientation, and when it begins to fail, the body expresses it first. This is often attributed to age or clumsiness, causing early detection opportunities to be missed, while observing the body as a neurological indicator allows earlier action. The seventh sign shows up in decision-making. As choosing becomes exhausting, decisions are postponed or delegated. And neurologically, a brain under load avoids risk, which is not incapacity but self-protection. When this is confused with weak character, autonomy is unnecessarily reduced, whereas supporting decisions without pressure strengthens frontal circuits. The eighth sign is progressive social withdrawal, not due to lack of affection but mental fatigue, Because conversation requires memory, language, attention, and emotion at the same time. And when all of that becomes demanding, the brain reduces exposure. Less social interaction means less stimulation, which accelerates decline, while maintaining gentle and consistent connections breaks this cycle. The ninth sign is little known but critical, changes in the sense of smell, since the olfactory system is directly connected to memory centers and alterations. Here can anticipate cognitive decline many years in advance. This is often attributed to allergies or aging, causing one of the earliest markers to be ignored. Yet taking this change seriously opens a window for prevention. The 10th sign is extreme rigidity around routine, because routines provide safety when the brain feels vulnerable, and total rejection of novelty reflects a deep need for control. This is mistaken for habit, but lack of novelty reduces brain plasticity, while introducing gentle, controlled changes strengthens the brain. There is also a signal that runs through all of them. Protective denial, which does not come from ignorance but from fear, yet denial delays help and recognition opens options, because when someone says nothing is happening, time is lost, and early awareness is neurological power. The reality is that all of these signs can appear many years before a diagnosis, and when memory loss becomes obvious, much of the brain tissue has already been affected. But when these signals are detected early, there is still room to act because the brain, even after the age of 60, retains an extraordinary capacity to adapt. And with proper nutrition, good oxygenation, regular physical movement, and constant mental stimulation, it is possible to change the trajectory. The key is not to wait. The key is to act now, while the brain still has resources to respond. And if any of these signs felt familiar, sharing it in the comments and staying connected to reliable information can make a profound difference, because the right knowledge at the right time truly matters.